Hi friends, this is NJ, host on this channel. So we will continue our discussion on the composite analysis. The objective behind doing this series is that to show you guys a sync, a harmony between different mystic sciences. Like the way I always say, if someone's astrological chart is promising the influence of a strong planet Mars, so the same strong influence of the Mars can also be seen in the same person's palm lines as well. Same is the way if a big major life event is being promised in your astrological chart, basis the dasha period, basis the transit periods, the same thing, the same happening of the event, how can we see in the palm lines as well? This is what this my composite analysis series is all about. And the case study which I am going to present to you guys is of an Indian who is a chartered accountant who's been living in foreign land from past so many long years. Now he is in this turmoil that whether he should continue working as an employee or he has got some lucrative opportunities which may open the doors of starting his own practicing along with starting up his own business. So he just shared all of his details with me, and the case study which I'm going to present to you guys today is of this particular person's detail only, with the only promise which I always make to the people that the details will be kept confidential and strictly private. So as you can see in your screen that the person's numerological data, the Lagna chart and the palm image is right there in front of you guys. So we will start first with the numerological major numbers. The first important number is the life path number. This number is very important because you cannot change your date of birth, month of birth or year of birth. This number tells about the lessons you need to learn in this lifetime, the kind of talents you possess, and where all you need to evolve in this lifetime. The presence of the number 6, which is a number of the Venus, which just tells about the person's life will hover all around the concerns of the family, appreciation for the art, appreciation for the beauty, along with maintaining the harmony and assuming the responsibility. The destiny number is 8. Now destiny number gets calculated from your complete name. This is a number which remains even long after you will be gone. This number just tells about the kind of opportunities you are going to invite in your this lifetime. All those people who have their destiny number as the 8, first of all, these people tend to remain very hardworking. These people, they might go through initial struggles in their life where they even have to strive for the each penny in their life. But they have the potential because it is a number of the Saturn. Saturn teaches you the lesson in a harder way, in a harsh way. But this is also a number of reaching the top position, reaching the position of the authority. So all of that we get to know from the destiny number 8. This is also a number of the hard work and the discipline. The solar number is 6. Now solar number gets calculated from the presence of the vowels in your name. Why vowels? Because while pronouncing these vowels, our vocal cords do not face any obstruction. So this just tells about what our innermost cravings are. The number 6, the solar number, just tells about that the person's soul, the innermost heart also desires for staying close to his family, towards his children, and for the art, for the beauty, all the beautiful things in the life. This is also a number of the passion as well. Coming to the personality number, the personality number gets calculated from the presence of the consonants in your name. This number just tells about the way you will be identified and recognized in this world. Once you have stepped outside the home, how the whole world sees you, the way the world perceives you. The presence of the number 11, 11 is a master number. It's a highly spiritual number, which is going to give this hint that the person will be seen as someone who will be very spiritual, someone who will be very intuitive, and someone who will be very righteous in his conduct in the society. Coming to the Lagna chart, the person is born with the Libra ascendant. Again, the presence of the energies of the Venus can be seen in the Lagna itself. Second thing is the Lagna, the ascendant is in the Swati nakshatra. Now Swati is a nakshatra ruled by the planet Rahu. Rahu rules the 3 nakshatras, Adra, Swati and the Satvisha. But whenever it comes to the savviness, well conduct, good manners, diplomacy, all of that we see from the Swati nakshatra only. This nakshatra is also considered as very promising for the business pursuit as well. Now comes the second question, where the ascendant lord has gone in the chart. Ascendant lord has gone to the 8th house of ups and downs, but the blessing in the disguise is that it is in the 8th house, it's in the own sign only. So but it is protecting the ups and downs, protecting the sudden happening of the events. But one thing is that these kind of vulnerability to the sudden happening of the events, these kind of vulnerability to the little bit of the ups and downs cannot be completely ruled out. So remaining very secure, not going too over the top in your in getting indulged into risky ventures is something which this guy needs to learn. The conjunction of the Venus and Mars makes the person very passionate. So now this combination is very good from the perspective of doing very good in the art, anything related to even the mystic sciences. The person can also be very good mystic as well. So good intuition can also be seen from this, because 8th house is also the house of the psychic powers, of the inheritance, of the legacy, enlightenment, of the moksha. So many good and the bad things that this 8th house offers. Now looking at the 10th house, which is also in a very strengthened condition, there is a very beautiful Gaj Kesari Roga which is being formed because of the conjunction of the Jupiter and the Moon. And the second thing is that Jupiter is also exalted in the 10th house. Moon is in the nakshatra of the Ashlesha. Now when it comes to the Ashlesha, Ashlesha is a nakshatra which is about the, again, the diplomacy. Ashlesha is a nakshatra where these people, Ashlesha people, are seen as someone who can be very but much stingy in the matters of the finances. So little bit of the stinginess, little bit of the gluttonous in the matters of exploring and remaining a foodie, having a fetish for different kind of cuisines, different kind of food can also be seen. The 10th house also is also seen as the Karma Bhava. So there the exalted Jupiter is again giving us the same hint which the personality number 11 from the numerological analysis is telling about, that the person will be seen as a very righteous in the society. Now coming to the a little bit of the signs of the vulnerability. So when it comes to the 11th house, see the Rahu is in the 11th house. Rahu, whenever it comes to its placement in the 11th house, that house is considered as very good for the placement of the Rahu. But just because it is there in the sign of its enemy, that's one thing. Second thing is that even Saturn is there conjunct Rahu in the sign of its arch enemy Sun. And whenever there is a conjunction of the Saturn and Rahu is happening, that too in a very important dhan house. Now this could be the 2nd house, this could be the 11th house. So this just makes person little bit of the vulnerable in the matters of the financial venture, which venture to invest, which prospects to get into. So all those fear of vulnerability would remain to be there. Apart from that, all the planets have come in the middle of the axis of the Saturn and Rahu, which has made Vishdhar Kalsarp dosha, which just makes the person travel too much. And 11th house is also the house of your group setting. 11th house is also the house of all the all kind of the friend circle, the acquaintances, the contacts you have. So whenever the Saturn and Rahu are conjunct in the 11th house, trusting the people and properly putting your trust onto the people, especially on your friends, is something which needs to be put only after authenticating them to the core. So this is something which can be seen from the planetary configuration in his Lagna chart. No planet is retro, which is a good sign. Second thing is the 9th house, which is the house of the luck, which is the house of the foreign travels, which is also the house of the father. Placement of the sun, which is the natural significator of the father, in the 9th house is again a good sign. If we have to see the person's even because the majority of the concerns which the person has is surrounding the career only. So even if we see the Varga chart, the Dashamsha chart, so there you will also see that the 10th lord has become the Mars, which is placed in the 2nd house. Now 2nd house is the house of the finances, is the the house of the money lending, accountancy. So Mars being disposed in the 2nd house, because 2nd house, like the way I said, is the house of the buying and selling of the property, of the finances. So which is also very good sign that the person in itself is a chartered accountant, is in a very prestigious position in the organization where he is currently working with. Now coming to the person's palm. So as you can see, the very first thing when we have to check and scrutinize the palm is that the Mars, the prominence of the Mars, like the way I have said, the Mars is prominent. So you can see that where the lifeline is getting broken, it is the same affliction is being protected by the Mars, presence of the Mars line, and even the Mars, both the inner Mars, which represents your physical strength, which represents little bit of the aggression. So that portion is prominent, along with the outer Mars is also prominent in the palm. The person has got strong Venusian influence, which can also be seen in the form of the prominent Venusian portion in the palm. Third thing is that, like the way I always say, whensoever change is happening in your life, the person is in a crossroad, and if you will time the line, the same place where the lifeline is getting broken. But the best part is that the blessing in disguise is that with the same combination, there is one ascending line which is getting risen up, and which is pointing towards the middle finger. And I always say the ascending line just tells about, by looking at and monitoring which direction that ascending line is pointing at, you will get to know what kind of signification are happening in the life. If it is pointing towards the index finger, this is a finger which is all about the authority, which is of the spirituality. When it comes to the middle finger, which is being governed by the planet Saturn, all the concerns of the promotion in the job, setting up your business, or buying your own home, we see, because the middle finger is the finger of Saturn, which is a finger of security as well. When we feel secure, when we get into our own business, when we get into our own home, that can also be seen from the presence and from any ascending line pointing towards the middle finger. And one more thing is that, like the way I always say, whatsoever break is happening, important is that how that change has affected you, has impacted you. You need to check the condition of the lines after that. So the break which is happening over here at the same age in which the person is, the line is not getting shrink, line is getting broader in that because after that break, line has overlapped and it has become little bit broader, which is giving this positive hint that it is going to broaden the horizon of the person. This change which is very imminent in the person's life. Second thing is that the beautiful sync of all these mystic sciences. Just see the origin of the fate line. The fate line is originating from the portion of the moon. So all these people in whose hand the fate line originates from the moon portion, because what does moon represent? The portion, this portion which is represented by the moon just tells about the imagination. This is a portion of the art, this is a portion of the travels. All those people who work in the import-export business, food and beverage industry, the aviation industry. So origin from this portion just tells about fortune awakening in the foreign land, fortune awakening after marriage. This is also a good combination of the popularity as well. So the person is already being in a foreign land from past so long, which can also be seen because of the origin of the fate line from over this portion. The Jupiter portion is very prominent, and we can also see the exalted Jupiter in the Lagna chart. If you will see the condition of the mount of the Jupiter, first of all, index finger is little bit longer. I always say, whenever the fingertips are little bit curved at the top of the top flange, which just tells about the qualities, the signification of that finger gets accentuated, gets increased. And the presence of a special signs. See, the person also has got a very beautiful minor line which we say as the ring of Solomon. Now what happens is that all those people who have the ring of Solomon, so ring of Solomon, if it is curved, the circular in combination, which tells about the intuitive intelligence, but whenever it is straight, this just makes the person spiritual, but with a tinge of the logical approach to it. So person is intuitive, person is spiritual, person is righteous, person has got a probing mind, but with a tinge of the looking at it from a logical perspective. I forgot to say that even the person's Lagna is in this ascendant is in the Swati nakshatra, but that too in the third pada, which is the Aquarius Navamsa. Same ways, the moon is in the Ashlesha, that too in the third pada, which is again the Aquarius Navamsa, which is also telling about scientific bent of mind, because Aquarius is a sign which is all about the scientific and new way of thinking things. Many people say for the Ashlesha nakshatra that these people tend to remain calculative, these people tend to remain deceptive. So that is all crap. All what comes down to is that the person is calculative, but the overall constitution of the chart just tells about where this calculativeness is being used, whether to dupe someone or whether to accentuate your own prospect in the life, and also helping others, and doing some philanthropic work as well. So because Jupiter is exalted, moon is in the Ashlesha nakshatra, so this calculativeness of the Ashlesha nakshatra will be used for furthering the person's own prospect along with helping other people for the betterment of the society. So this is how you can see that. One more last thing, by looking at the sync of all these sciences, is that just check the condition of the ring finger. The ring finger is very long. Whenever we say and see all the prospect of the risk-taking qualities and the gambling tendencies, not gambling doesn't mean that you have to actually gamble in the matches or in the or the horse racing. It's just like that. All those people who even take interest in the stock market, who even in the nature of job, in the business, who risk a lot. So that we get to know from a longer ring finger, which the person has. And the only catch and clause here is that with that, even if you will see at the top flange of the ring finger, not only it is longer, but there is one additional knot as well, which is a knot just act as a obstruction. So all these risk taking venture needs to be taken with lots of caution, with lots of scrutinization, because like the way I say, our fingers releases the energy. The vertical lines present on these fingers just tells about the benevolence, the help in the kind of the difference. The horizontal lines and the additional knots can be seen as an obstruction to the free flow of the energy, which can be seen as a sign of vulnerability. Now just because this is a finger of the investment, of the risk taking quality, so proper caution needs to be there. And same is the way I have already explained that in the Lagna chart, the 11th house, which is of the friend and the acquaintances, the conjunction of the Saturn and Rahu in the enemy sign is also creating this kind of vulnerability. Now coming to the question, the query which the person has. So see, the person has just begun the Mahadasha of the moon. Moon is very beautifully disposed, but the problem is that when it comes to the business, there are two chief planets which we look at. The Saturn, which is not in a very good state, the Mercury, which is not in a very good state, it's disposed in the enemy sign. But just because the other combination, if I were to look at the person's palm, the combination of the palm lines, even by looking at the Virga chart, so at this hour, because see, there can be so many combinations, but what matters most is that which planet is being activated currently at that venture. Like the way we say, you want to get married to the person, so important is that you should find the right partner and at the right time. So if I were to look at it from the perspective of the time periods which he is running at, he is running the Mahadasha of the moon, very good sign, because moon is with the exalted planet in the 10th house of the Karma Bhava, that's good sign. The transit of the Jupiter, which is going to come in the September in this person's Lagna, again good sign. Saturn is also already transiting the 3rd house in his Lagna, if we were to see, and the 3rd house is considered as the 3rd house, 7th house, 11th house, 10th house are considered as the very promising bhavs, the houses of the business. Right now it is retrograde, but yes, all the combination and the current transit are promising and indicating towards getting into the business venture. But one thing which I just want to say in a very clear terms, that because the ascendant lord has gone to the 8th house, and this the Kalsrap dosha which is getting formed, and little bit of the trivial things in the chart, so little bit of the vulnerability of the ups and downs will tend to remain. So now that you have to decide whether you want to remain at the secure end by withdrawing a fixed salary, or you want to risk for a very big fortune with little bit of the ups and downs in the life. So this is all what I can say, I can do as my part of analysis. The person has got lots of potential. The other question which this person has asked me was that, his question is that, I'm also having a good fair and understanding in astrology and other mystic sciences. What time can I really start practicing astrology? I do not see any kind of vulnerability even starting now. There is no problem to that. Second thing is that, and trust me brother, you will do very good in that. The other question this person has that, I would like to emerge as a consultant negotiator in the financial service internal audit field in India and abroad. How successful I would be? Oh, see, the success is something which is going to be humongous, but this could, but because of the little bit of the Saturnian influence, this could get little bit delayed. But more than that, you definitely going to get very good success in the venture, in the field in which you are in. The only word of caution which I can say is that while getting into things, always have this mode of cross-checking the things from this perspective, that many times we come across all this kind of situation where we are working in an organization, let's say for example, and our bosses and our partners are saying this thing that why don't you just leave the job, start the venture, I'll keep on outsourcing the work to you. And once we take that extreme step, and these people do not keep up their promise and remain on the top of the promises which these people have put forth. So this is something where you guys need to work on. You need to work on that. Whatsoever will be promised to you, take that on return. Do not rely on people's face value, and remain little bit guarded in your risk taking ventures. The remedies which can be advised because of this Kalsip dosha getting formed, once in lifetime, you need to go to the Triambakeshwar Jyotirling in the Nasik, of Lord Shiva. Get the puja done of this Kalsap dosha. Worship of the Lord Shiva will be always good for you. And just because this is something which I can say at this hour, and this is how I just wanted to do the composite analysis of this person. For further more updates and notification on mystic sciences, please subscribe my channel and like my Facebook page. Thanks.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shiva